This episode of Gareth Jones on Speed has an explicit language rating. This is largely due to the potty mouth of Valtteri Bottas.
Up and down the pit lane, all through the night, on listening to punk rock and that's alright.
Hello, or perhaps I should say, oi! Welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. As you know, every year during the August F1 break, we take a break on the podcast from the regular type of show and instead put out a compilation of the music from the last 12 months of Gareth Jones on Speed. However, this year's slightly different. I was inspired by the series Pistol, which is on Disney Plus, telling the story from the point of view of one of the members of the band, of the birth and the early days, in fact the whole story of the Sex Pistols. So I looked at my back catalogue of the songs that we've recorded over the years, and I realised I've done loads of punk rock songs. All the punk greats, The Damned, The Jam, The Stranglers, and even some new punk bands, and one or two proto-punk bands as well. So stick around till the end of the show because there'll be lots of F1 related punk rock nonsense. Believe me, it does exist. But first, here's one of those proto-punk bands, a band without whom we wouldn't have had punk rock in Britain, in my opinion. Here's the Ramones. Well, actually, it's not really the Ramones. It's me as the Ramones. The Ram Ones. Sheena is a race car fan.
1, 2, 3, 5! Driving on the highway, good to be alive. Feel like doing 90, limit's only 55. Sheena wants a car that is sharp and cool. Sheena owns a car that is hip. You won't see Sheena in a Nissan, maybe a GTR. Tunability, not reliability, is what she wants from her car. Sheena is a race car fan, a rock and roll race car fan. Sheena is a race car fan, on her way to a driving band. She's a race car fan, catch her if you can. Hot top, rank top, fast rank non-stop. Hot top, rank top, fast rank non-stop. Rank top. She's got a seat with a 5-4 horn. There's no man suit that's new. She looks nice in her handsome eyes. She's gonna wear a helmet too. She don't need a heated rear window. She don't wanna know how to beat a stick. She needs lots of grip. Sheena is a race car fan, rock and roll race car fan. Sheena is a race car fan, on her way to a driving band. She's a race car fan, catch her if you can.
Not long after punk rock emerged in London, it spread around the country, and one of the first cities to give us an alternative version of punk rock was Manchester, the Buzzcocks, and we lost Pete Shelley recently. So here's one for the remaining living members of the Buzzcocks. This is my version of the Buzzcocks, called the Vibrococks for copyright reasons. This one's called I Don't Get It.
Wanted a highly spec car, I never had the cash. I ended up driving the basic model instead of one backslash. Heated rear window, I don't get it. Reclining seats, I don't halogen headlights, I don't get it at all. Oh, that's a bit extra. Oh, I always wanted the GL model, but I don't make a fuss. I'd be happy with the Sport or Deluxe instead of not a Popular Plus. Alloy wheels, I don't get it. Rear seat headrests, I don't get it. Stereo cassette player, I don't get it at all. I didn't tick the option box. This maker's available with entry trim. To me that's a little bit strange. It seems that's an option you can only get on the car at the top of the range. Carpeted boot, I don't get it. Remote locking, I don't get it. Power sunroof, I don't get it. Vanity mirror, I don't get it. Go faster stripes, I don't get it. Inertia reel seat belts, I don't get it. Driving lights, I don't get it. Cigarette lighter, I don't get it. Leather seats, I don't get it. D6 engine, I don't get it at all. I might as well buy myself a Japanese car, they come really well equipped. Ever fallen in love with an option you couldn't afford? In love with an option you couldn't afford?
Thank you. It's nice to be back in the UK. We're the Jam.
Wrong side of the road, picked up a couple of parking fines. That's okay, it's part of the mode, with only foreign radio to listen to. I've got something to admit to. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Roads covered with snow. We've run out of grit though, but when it's clear, at least we've got somewhere to go. On this Virgin Radio 2, I got something to admit to. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay! Unlike foreign traffic systems, it's only foreign to listen. Speed limit 60 miles an hour. That's just taking a percent. With only foreign radio to listen to, I've got something to admit to. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Alright. Yeah. Ooh, traffic congestion. Ooh, all over this land. Ooh, Anglo-Saxons. Ooh, undertaking's bang. One of the pleasures of travelling far, seeing the Japanese domestic car. That's fun for a while, but I'd swap them all for a Capri GT XLR. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay back in the UK. Everything's okay. okay, back in the UK. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay, back in the UK.
Gareth Jones on fucking speed. This is Punk as F1, a space that I've created that somehow connects cars, motorsport, Formula One, and punk rock. And I suppose the best way to qualify that would be to talk to someone who actually raced in Formula One during the punk rock day. So will you welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed, my old pal, John Watson.
Hello there, Gareth. In fact, not only was I racing in Formula One during the heydays of punk rock, but also in the years preceding that, Formula One helped to create punk culture.
Really, John? How?
Well, for start, there was a really punk undertone to Formula One at the time.
As a Northern Irishman, I see what you did there, John.
I may be 76, Gareth, but I have the mind of a 75-year-old.
Sorry, John, I interrupted you there. Go on. What were you saying? How did 1970s Formula One influence punk rock?
Well, first of all, Gareth, back in the 1970s, the races were much shorter than they are now. And punk artists took that idea and wrote shorter songs themselves. F1 was much faster and dangerous back then, rather like a single by Crass or Slaughter and the Dogs. And also, when we had champagne on the podium, we used to get a mouthful and then spit it over each other. Punk stole the whole spitting thing from us. But also the most important thing, I think, is that ground effect aerodynamics that Lotus introduced in 1976 or 1977 perhaps created what we now call porpoising. But back in those days, we called it pogo oscillations, which of course, pogo became the favourite dance, if we can call it that, of punk rockers. So yes, we invented punk rock.
John, always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Gareth.
John, you're one of my motor racing heroes. And talking of which, here's the Stranglers. Or in my case, the Wranglers.
They think they're going round the bend, sliding on a corner which doesn't have an end. The front is loose and it starts to slip. They need a car with much more grip. Get a grip on yourself, more like. So they're driving in the sewer with a foot out to the floor, 'cause there are no more motor racing heroes anymore. No more motor racing heroes anymore. Rubbing rubber on the gravel, got to get his left toes down. His tires are sticky with the hot and black, but slippy when they're cold and brown. Cold and brown. Fastest round the circuit, got the quickest time. Gently on the throttle, nice and easy, does it off the line. Nice and easy, does it off the line. Disillusion with the drivers, some are just piss poor. There are no more motor racing heroes anymore. No more motor racing heroes anymore. If you're close enough to pass him, there or thereabouts, don't take him in the corners, get him when the road straightens out. If you want to gain, improve your game, you got to feel the pain. Just in case you win the race, something better change. Yeah,
I'm ready to make some changes. Let's make some changes. I don't know about you, but I've given up on Sako Yamamoto. Let down by Antonio Bisogna. Got no more support for Frank Montani. I couldn't get behind Christian Orbers. I lost faith in Thiago Montero. Loyalties run out for Yuji Ide. I've got no more confidence for Patrick Friesacker. I ditched my devotion to Robert Dorbos. No more motor racing heroes anymore. No more motor racing heroes anymore.
The Stranglers were one of the first 3 punk bands I ever heard, so they were a massive influence on me, particularly the bass style of Jean-Jacques Benel, so I make no excuse for a second song by the Wranglers. This is At the Back of the Pack.
Nobody ever goes racing to start from the back of the pack. Apart from maybe Max Chilton and the cash he doesn't lack. I'll bet that even he would wish that he never did. It's like entering a war zone when you race from the back of the grid, the back of the pack. At the back of the pack, you're under attack. You've got to watch your front and your back. You got it going on in stereo. And Kobayashi on a no-win scenario. They're coming at you from all sides. Stay away if it's courage you lack. Fortune favors not the brave but the wealthy. It's fears at the back of the pack. At the back of the pack. Then you arrive at the corner, fueled by the dash in your purse. You line yourself up to turn at the apex, and Taki and Ui's got their burst. And the unluckiest driver in Formula One is putting on a quicker show than you. Now you know that he's real quick, and you know that you're slow. You're at the back of the pack. Go for a drive. At the back of the pack. At the back of the pack. To complain, they don't get a chance to win. You gotta be alright to get a seat and prove that cash is king. At the back of the pack. Swiss francs. At the back of the pack. Uruguayan peso. At the back of the pack. Indian rupee. At the back of the pack. Russian ruble. At the back of the pack. Japanese yen. At the back of the pack. Brazilian real. At the back of the pack. US dollar. At the back of the pack. Sterling and euro. At the back of the pack.
Safety in Formula One is very different now from when I was driving. Back in the 1970s, we drove cars with a large metal spike sticking out of the steering wheel. If you made the slightest mistake, you were dead.
Get You tell me how to stand, or where to put my hands. You'll never understand. I don't care, Jackie Stewart. I don't care, Jackie Stewart. Jackie Stewart. I don't care. I
would have been a much more popular world champion if I'd always said what people wanted to hear. I might have been dead, but definitely more popular.
Broke the mold, smooth and control. Didn't die, got old. Oh, I don't care. Fast on entry, quick on exit. He's probably got a checklist. He don't care that he's dyslexic.
I've always felt that safety is a very important thing in Formula One.
Listen, Jackie, I respect what you say. The architect of F1 today. You made it better, you made it safer. Removed your helmet and created a monster. Jackie Stewart's a hell of a guy. Jackie Stewart's got one good eye. Jackie Stewart watched all his friends die. He's alive and he'll tell you why. He's Jackie Stewart. He's Jackie Stewart. He's Jackie Stewart. Hey, Jackie Stewart. Come on, Jackie. Drive that Stewart. Jackie Stewart, handy with the shotgun. Jackie Stewart, we are all in one. Jackie Stewart, never chews gum. He even bound swearing on the podium.
A police officer stopped me once and said, "Who do you think you are, Sterling Moss?" I said, "No, officer, I was driving too fast on a public road though."
Oh, JYS! You what was bad? You model driver. That was his quiz. His battle of love. Made it just up for him. Winning simply not enough. I don't care, Jackie Stewart. I don't care, Jackie Stewart. Jackie Stewart. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I like to think of myself as the world's first truly professional racing driver. You know, the complete article. Helpful to the team at every level. Not just in the car, but out of it. The way that you drive, the way that you present yourself, everything about you has to reflect the massive investment in a sport that's simply become a huge business.
Jackie Stewart, I reckon one of the biggest punks ever in F1. He didn't care what people thought. He just did what he thought was right and did that. That's pretty punk rock. And that song was in the style of the New York Dolls, or in my case, the New York Cabs. Now, you might be wondering what the legacy of punk rock is in F1 today. You're probably not, but I hope now that I've planted that idea that you are. So I thought I'd find out the answer to that question by asking a couple of current F1 drivers. And the first one I spoke to is Finnish hot sauna fan Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed.
Thank you very much.
Are you interested in punk rock at all, Valtteri?
You might be surprised to hear me on a punk rock show, really, but I do really like punk rock. Google it. I did.
So how did punk rock affect you, Valtteri?
Well, it taught me quite a lot of English swear words, such as dumb and poo and wee, and of course the worst word of them all.
Which one is that?
Titty fart.
Right, thank you, Valtteri. There's something wonderful about hearing Valtteri Bottas say titty fart, isn't there? Here's Liam Dury and the Head Blocks, A Right Johnny Herbert, a song about a Formula One driver I love.
This is a song from the Middle East, and by that I mean Brentwood in Essex. I'm a cheeky little chappie who is always bright and happy.
I only look back when I'm on the track. I'm so quick I make you look crappy. I will that pace. Without trademark smile up on my face, I'll be going like their clappers, quicker than your Brundles, Shoemakers. My legs ain't perfect, but let's celebrate with the sherbet. I can't say that I was unhurt, but I'm alright, John. I'm alright, Johnny Herbert. I'm often in the pit, but more often in the like the time some mechanic of a twit left a loose spanner in the Sauber's cockpit. That could have hurt someone. My legs ain't perfect, but let's celebrate with the sherbet. I can't say that I was unhurt, but I'm alright, John. I'm alright, Johnny Herbert. I'm always there, or thereabouts. I know when to be there and I know when to get out. And if you didn't notice, I was in a flaming 91 Lotus, slower and more vocal than a diesel Ford Focus. I'm a walkie-talking advert for the abilities of the disabled. What's a lad from Essex to do when no other deal is tabled? My legs ain't perfect, but let's celebrate with the sherbet. I can't say that I was unhurt, but I'm alright, John. I'm alright, Johnny Herbert. If you think I'm in reverie, then that's a misconception, but allow me to take one glance back as I make an exception. When Shumi took out Damon, and I don't mean for a drink, somebody had to win the British Grand Prix, use your bloody fix. So I put my best foot forward, only got one, don't you know? At Silverstone I wasn't alone, they sang go Johnny go! Go Johnny go, 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 go, go! So I went, didn't I? Like a rat up a drain pipe. One leg short, the other one's long. The length of my career is 12 years in Formula 1. On the podium 7 times and 3 at number 1. And finally did I mention that I won at Le Mans? No, my legs ain't perfect, but let's celebrate with a sherbet. I can't say that I was unhurt, but I'm alright, John. I'm alright, Johnny Herbert. Up and down the pit lane, all through the night, on listening to punk rock, and that's alright. Whoa, positive one. I mentioned earlier on that one of the first 3 punk bands I ever heard were the Wranglers. The second, or perhaps heard at the same time, certainly the same day, were the Damned. I think New Rose was the first tune I heard by them. But before we hear a song in the style of the Damned, or in my case, the Damned, I thought I'd speak to another Formula One driver about what they know about punk rock. So here's an excerpt from a conversation I had with Lance Stroll.
The thing I like about punk rock is it's kind of, do-it-yourself attitude. You don't have to come from a privileged background and be great at what you do. You just have to have a go yourself, no matter what your talent is. That's a spirit, I think, embodied by the likes of Nicholas Latifi and Mick Schumacher and me. Oh no, wait a moment. Let me rethink that.
Danger comes in all sorts of shapes. safety or aerodynamic devices. It's just one of those things that racing with me brings. If I overtake you, I'll snap off one of your wings. The night is dark and full of terrors. No night vision, terrible weather. It is dangerous out there when I'm aboard. Citizen beware, it is dangerous on the road. Dangerous. Erratic, spectacular, if it's speed you want, then I'm not lacking, I'm way in front of you, my nemesis. In terms of financial backing, the most dangerous thing about me is not that I might crash, it's a fact that I earned this right to race with pocketfuls of cash. The night is dark and full of terrors. No night vision, terrible weather. It is dangerous out there when I'm aboard. Citizen beware, it is dangerous on the road. Ring of Herbert and the circuit pillars sound, where a darker night is cooler than the Marquis de Sade. Every racer has his day, and this will be my night. I'm the god of darkness, and you'll perish in my mind. You won't know if I'll go left or right. You'd see me coming in the day. I'll slide through you like a rapier might. Be very afraid. The night is dark and full of terrors. No night vision, terrible weather. It is dangerous out there when I'm aboard. Citizen beware, it is dangerous on the road. Dangerous on the road. On the road. Seek out the light. Don't go to the dark place. Seek out the
The Darned, my version of The Damned, with a song there with a lyric inspired by Game of Thrones. The night is dark and full of terrors. Okay, continuing the theme of punk rock and its effect on Formula One drivers. Today, I spoke to Carlos Sainz. Carlos, what sort of music did you listen to as a teenager?
Obviously, there was a problem with the car, but I was still quicker than Charles.
Carlos, I didn't ask that question.
Sorry, it was of a habit. No, I grew up in Spain listening to punk rock. I suppose it started when I heard the Clash song, Spanish Bombs, which I thought was about Fernando Alonso's political movements. You might not realize this, but Spain is known for its punk rock bands. Las Estranguladoras, of course, and the most famous of them all, Las Pistolas Sexuales.
Sex Pistols, or in our case, the Six-Pissed Holes. Never mind the Particulates, a comment on the air quality in London. Okay, continuing our theme of the crossover between punk rock and F1. Yes, there is one, if you make it up. Apart from talking to the drivers, I thought I'd talk to some of the luminaries in Formula One and see if punk rock means anything to them at all. So, this is what Zach Brown had to say on the subject. Zach Brown, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. Was punk rock an influence on you at all?
Hell yeah. In fact, just the other week, I said to Daniel Ricciardo that I wanted to pierce his earlobe with a safety pin.
Why do you want to do that? To make him appear punky, I suppose?
No, not really. I was just threatening him to see if I could make him drive a little faster.
So, would you say there was any punk rock in McLaren? I doubt it.
Oh, no, we're really punk at McLaren. We even paint our cars a shade of orange, like sniff petrol. That's pretty punk.
Zach, your cars, as we keep being told, aren't orange, they're papaya.
Fuck off.
That's pretty punk. Here's the Jammed.
Just like James Hunt, I wanna be the fastest by far. I wanna be just like James Hunt. Kiss all the girls and drive an F1 car. Kiss all the girls and drive an F1 car. I wanna be just like James Hunt, wear a race suit, look dapper and smile. I wanna be just like James Hunt, drink from every ball at the back of the bar. Drink from every ball at the back of the bar. La 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 la. I wanna be just like James Hunt, standing on the podium with a massive grin. I wanna be just like James Hunt. I'll be taking ladder at the Nürburgring. I'll be taking ladder at the Nürburgring. Hey. I wanna be just like James Hunt. I wouldn't have to boast and I wouldn't have to brag. I wanna be just like James Hunt. When I Grand Prix is like a Marlboro fag. When I Grand Prix is like a Marlboro fag. Oh, la 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 la. He's not impressive. I don't wanna be Räikkönen, far too aggressive. I don't wanna be Sterling Moss and get arrested. Don't wanna drive for Ferrari. I wanna drive a Hesketh. I wanna drive a Hesketh. I wanna be just like James Hunt. 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 I wanna be just like James Hunt.
Gareth Jones on fucking speed. We can't do a programme about punk rock and Formula One without talking about the single punkiest driver ever to really exist in Formula One. I'm talking about a man who famously swore to Martin Brundle on World TV. Yeah, Kimi Räikkönen. This is a song in the style of Me, a tribute to Kimi called Leave Me Alone. I know what I'm doing.
When you turned up, you were like no other. Faster than Frenson and Schumacher's brother. You ushered in an ice age, your talent was mammoth. You turned another page, the Iceman comer. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me all of the time. When Kimmy's at the track, there's trouble brewing. He says, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Doesn't say much, he's no Kimmy Schmidt. He stays stum, keeps his thought close-knit. Did he miss Ballet's presentation? Kimmy took a shit and shocked the nation. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me all of the time. When Kimmy's at the track, there's trouble brewing. He says, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing.
exercise, please. Keep working all.
Yes, I'm doing all the lines. I don't have to remind every second.
You became world champion, no big deal. Went to NASCAR, that was unreal. Then in a rally, no one took notice. Then you came back and you won in a Lotus. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me all of the time. When Kimi's at the track, there's trouble brewing. He says, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing.
Leave me alone, I know what to do. Leave me alone, I know what to do.
Interviewing Kimi can be infernal. Ask him what it's like to drive, he'll say it feels normal. When asked about his lid design, this is what he said. A massive pause. It protects my head. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me all of the time. When Kimi's at the track, there's trouble brewing. He says, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Now the Iceman's gone and our hearts are melted. It'll be okay, but it won't be cracking. You know what I think and you think it too. Kimi left us alone and we don't know what to do.
Gareth Jones on speed.
That's just about it for this special music compilation episode of Gareth Jones on Speed. We will return in a few weeks' time with a new episode talking about the new stuff that's going on in cars and motorsports. But talking about new stuff, we're going to leave you with a tune from a band who I think absolutely carry on the entire spirit of punk rock. They're called Idols, and this is appropriately F1 can F off. See ya!
I've got a tutu engineering degree. I've got a tutu engineering degree. I've got a dual engineering degree. I've got a dual engineering degree. I've worked for Williams for 10 years. I've worked for Williams for 10 years. I've worked in their fabrication shop for 10 years. I've worked in their fabrication shop for 10 years. We only scored 7 points last year. We only scored 7 points last year. F1 can F0, F1 can F0, F1 can F0, F1 can F0. If you ask me, they're taking a liberty. Yeah, they're taking liberty. F1 can F0, F1 can F0, F1 can F0, F1 can F0. Can't even play the drums. She went to Silverstone last year. She went to Silverstone last year. She paid £6 for a pint of beer. £6 for a pint of beer. He can't afford to go to the British Grand Prix. He can't afford to go to the British Grand Prix. And it's £40 to watch it live on Sky. £40 to watch it every month live on Sky. F1 can F0, 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 F1 can F0.
For information on how to contact the show, see pictures, get song lyrics, follow us on Twitter, find our Facebook fan page, or to sponsor the show, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!